And evidently it is. Okay, welcome. Welcome to the September edition of the Tucson Macintosh User Group meeting, or should I say the Apple iPhone announcement edition of the Macintosh User Group meeting. We will next gather on Tuesday, October 21st at the same virtual location. This month, we'll be talking about new products and their features that were announced on September 29th, pardon me, September 9th event. Also, our ever popular Apple News and security updates, and a new feature offered by Apple Accessibility and how to download maps into your iPhone and why you might want to do that. In October, we'll have an Ask Me Anything session hosted by Kevin. And October is when I do my annual Mac Geek gift guide. Say that 5 times quickly. Um, so at this point, let's see. What do I want to talk about next? We have a virtual Doi Prize during our Zoom meetings. The August winner was Gary Schreck. Congratulations, Gary. He is not with us at this time tonight. I would urge you to please subscribe and to the T-Mug YouTube channel. We'll be able to do, the more subscribers we have, the more we'll be able to do with YouTube. Are there any other announcements? What did I forget?
Wanted to buy, wanted to sell.
Well, that's next. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
is there any for sale or wanted to buy? Kevin?
I have I have a 2018 MacBook Air. It'll only run up to Sonoma, which is fine, but it's got 8 gigs and only 128 gigs of solid state storage. Perfect for somebody who just does email and web surfing, if you know anybody who would need such a machine.
Okay. I have for sale a not speed graphic, a crown graphic system with a case and I think 6 or 8 cut film holders, Lee. I'm sure you know what those are all about.
Yeah.
And I also have a green string backdrop stand that I purchased for $20. And it's really about a $40 or $50 stand. Still new in the box, never been opened. And I'd be happy to sell it for $20 to a good home. The program tonight, um, I'm going to finish up the opening remarks here, and I'm going to turn it over to Ridge for the security news, the updates, and tech updates. And I think Ridge is ready, so take it away, Ridge.
Right. Okay, here we are for September. And first, we take a look at the software that has been updated that's probably going to be of interest to our members. 1Password and Firefox and Graphic Converter, as far as I know, and others may have Audio Hijack and BBEdit and BusyCal and so forth. And if you're still using Lightroom and Little Snitch and Microsoft Office, and if you're running Windows programs on your Mac with Parallels desktop, you want to up that if you're going to be running Tahoe. And Quicken And today's Zoom is 6.6.0. Apple released these updates for Ventura, Sonoma, and Sequoia, and the iOS, iPad OS apps got updated, and so did iPad. And also, Tahoe 26 is out, and there was a HomePod software update along with it. And iOS and iPad OS and TV and Vision and Watch OSs all came along at the same time. What's coming is an AirPods firmware update sometime. And some iOS updates for older versions, as well as for iPad. And Xcode 26 has not been released yet, but we expect it. As far as Tahoe goes, Apple's is dropping support for the old time capsules. When Tahoe's released, supposedly because those drives were relying on HFS Plus formatting, but support for time machine backups is still available. Just the time capsules.
Hey, Ridge, can I
Yeah,
make a
go
comment
ahead.
here?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I've been running Tahoe for about a week now, and the old time capsules work fine.
Aha.
So they're dropping support in iOS 27, not
Okay.
in
Well, it's
26.
coming, so better be
And
notified beforehand so you're ready for it.
yeah, and they also dropped Xcode tonight
Oh,
for
well,
Tahoe.
okay. The last Mac operating system for Intel Macs is Tahoe. But when OS 27 is released, it's going to require an Apple Silicon chip in order to run on that Mac. And we all know now that FireWire support is no longer a part of Tahoe. And here's a Macworld online article about the best USB-C hubs and adapters, they think, for this year. Take a look at those two. And here's two more. And finally, and Apple image changes. Last time we looked at some of the changes Apple is going to be doing to the icons it uses in its operating system. And now that Tahoe is totally here with us now, it's probably a good time to remind everyone what Apple has done to its function and application icon images. That is. So the next slide shows what the old image used to look like and the replacement. And will Mac operating system 26 Tahoe run on your machine? If you got MacBook Pro, it's got to be 2019 and up, supposedly. And the Mac Mini and MacBook Air both have to have at least M1s. And your Mac Pro from 2019 will run it. And the Mac Studios will run Tahoe. But Tahoe will not work on MacBook Pro of 2018 and older, and the iMac Pro of 2017 and older, and MacBook Airs with Intel chips, and the Mac Mini 2018 and older. I've got one of those, so I'm not going to be running Tahoe on it. And here's what Apple's icons look like over time. How about the disk utility app? I don't know about you, but I don't like that wrench and the hex bolt. And here's stickies, what they look like over time. But now they're just I don't think that icon is as nice as the 20 to 2020, 2000 to 2020. That one's nice. And here's another Dropbox reminder that next month their passwords app is going to be discontinued. So they recommend transferring your passwords to another trusted and secure password manager app such as 1Password. Here are the rumors that are currently running on the online. Everybody is talking about an iPod Fold that has a folding screen. And the latest is that they might start production next year. And how about an iPad Pro with an M5 chip coming later this year? And there's still word that Apple's working on a low-cost 13-inch MacBook that's going to have an A19 Pro iPhone processor in it, but we don't know. And how about an OLED screen for the MacBook Pro coming next year? And Apple is also said to be testing a new Mac Mini, which got the M4 chip in it. They're testing it with M5 chips now. We'll have to wait and see if any of these things actually come to be. Apple has never tells us when they are actually going to release any of this stuff. So thanks for your attention for this part of the presentation. Now we'll turn our attention to items of security interest. Adobe didn't have any security activity this month. Mozilla did for Firefox. There were a total of 20 total fixes between those two updates. And Microsoft updated the Office with several updates for a total of 16 fixes. Nothing from Google, but Apple did have updates with security fixes. So my recommendation is that if you're running Sonoma and Sequoia, you probably ought to update those two. What was that? And the release of 26, Tahoe, had accompanying a lot of security fixes. When you go to the Apple site that tells you what security updates were done in their updates, their latest releases, 75 fixes for Tahoe, macOS Tahoe, and the iOS iPad, 26 fixes. I counted them. So these are for real.
Using comparable 24 temporarily.
How about turning to cybercrime news? And cyber criminals are using fake troubleshooting websites to trick us all into running terminal commands from our utilities. And those commands will install this Shamo malware through some process called click fix tactics. And the company CloudStrike says it blocked this campaign that was hijacking fake Mac support pages to steal passwords, browser data, and cryptocurrency. So between June and August this year, their Falcon platform detected more than 300 attempts to deliver shamos, which is a variant of a malware called Atomic Stealer. And that shamos operation was run by Cookie Spider, a group that rents out malware to other criminals on a subscription basis. So those attackers used malvertising and slipping their fake sites into paid search results. Anyone looking for routine fixes, such as how to flush the DNS cache on Mac OS, they risked landing on one of the phony support pages. And those pages give misleading instructions telling you to copy a single command into terminal. It looked like a quick fix, but the command bypassed Apple's gatekeeper checks and downloaded a hidden installer. Sometimes the command was written in plain text, but other times it was disguised with program encoding. Either way, it triggered the same script that grabbed the victim's password and planted the bad shamos. Once installed, shamos searches the Mac for goodies, and it hunts people's cryptocurrency wallets, which have become a frequent target now. We don't need to panic, but we should be cautious. And of course, the safest option is to avoid pasting terminal commands from unverified websites. If you need system-level help on your Mac, Apple's official documentation or established developer forums are far more safer to be used. And remain skeptical of any website that promises an instant fix. And taking a few extra minutes to verify the source is the safest way to proceed. The FBI in Los Angeles recently posted a reminder on X about the phantom hacker scam, which they say has cost Americans over $1 billion since last year. That scam targets older folks and warns that victims could lose their life savings, and it operates in 3 phases. First phase is a fake tech support person, and the second phase is a fake financial institution person, and the third phase is somebody pretending to be from the U.S. government. And when you got the tech support imposter working there, contacting the victims through whatever method, and then they direct them to download a program allowing the scammer remote access to the computer. Then the scammer asks victims to open their financial accounts so they can determine whether there have been any unauthorized charges, which the FBI says is the most lucrative for them for targeting. Afterwards, the scammer will choose an account to target, then tell the victim they'll get a call or further instructions from the so-called fraud department of the supposed bank that's hosting their account. Second phase, you got a financial institution imposter, calls the victim and informs them their funds have been so-called accessed by a foreign hacker and have to be moved to a safe third-party account. And the victims are then told to send the money via wire transfer, cash, or cryptocurrency, and are told to send multiple transactions over a span of days or months. The third phase, the victim could be contacted by someone posing as a U.S. government employee who prompts the individual to move their funds to an alias account for protection. Ha ha ha. And a security company named Moisely is warning Mac users about a new malware attack that may operate undetected. It's called JS Core Runner, and it spreads through what appears to be a free PDF converter app that is distributed on a website with the domain name FileRipper.com, which offers an application called Ripple Effect. The attack starts after the user downloads the FileRipper Ripple.package file from their website. When the user unpacks that file, a fake web view displays a PDF tool that appears legitimate, but malicious activity is running silently in the background. And users might not know that they're infected because the malware has sophisticated efforts to hide their activity. Finally, some good news. Apple has been and is still regularly updating XProtect for all of its Mac operating systems. And of course, the final moral of the story is to stay safe. And thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it. We're going to move on
There we go.
to the next portion of the meeting, which is Accessibility Minute with Chris Wesselman. Chris, are you ready to take over?
I am. Let me recalibrate here. I'm going to start off pasting something into the chat, which is basically what I'm going to talk about, and that is the new Liquid Glass user interface that the operating systems are using. And in case anybody is courageous and wants to venture into these new OSs, this may help you out, because it took me about a frustrating week to figure out how the heck it worked. They don't provide any instructions, of course, with the betas, but there are essentially 3 controls for Liquid Glass. And let me go ahead and share my, sorry?
There's nothing in the chat.
Oh, let me hit return. Sorry. Thank you. So this is the thing I'm going to show you tonight, the effects of using increased contrast, reduced transparency, and reduced motion. Now, the third one, reduced motion, is unless you have vision problems with moving stuff like I do, then, that's probably the first 2 that are going to really make a difference. So let me share my screen, and hopefully, yes, I think that's it. Okay. Okay. So you guys are seeing my screen now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is the evening Tahoe desktop wallpaper. And what's kind of nice is that it's actually about a 15-20 second film loop. So the water appears to be moving, makes it very realistic. It's a very nice image actually for desktop. But this is sort of the regular default, okay? And pretty much looks like everything we've got now. So you might notice, by the way, that my menu bar is clear. So let me explain sort of how all of this works. So first of all, if you go into system settings, and this is the important thing to remember, hopefully a month or 2 whenever you download it, is there 2 commands. One is the increased contrast, and the other is reduce transparency. And those are the ones I really want to show. So you just search on them. And this is the easiest way in the new system settings. And it will bring up these 2 commands right here at the top. Sorry, I didn't mark them up. I have them both off right now. So that's why the menu bar is clear. These icons over here show an inactive status. So they have that sort of clear appearance, but the regular icons are pretty much the same. So the next variation is, oh, here's where I underlined it, right. And what I'm attempting to show here, let's see, did this get in the background? It did. Okay, let's see. Hang on. Oh, it's a smaller picture. That's what it is. Okay. But this is what it looks like in the system settings. Okay. And this is where the switches are. So the next thing here is, let's see which one this is. Okay, so this is the increased contrast. This has been around for a long time. There's nothing new here. It's just helpful if you have readability issues, because the big complaint when the public beta came out for iOS 26 and Tahoe was that people had trouble reading it. And so increasing contrast will do that. I don't know if you noticed, but the numbers here are clearer, even though they're on the inactive one. So let me go to the next one. Okay, so, oh, I'm sorry, this is the increased contrast. Okay, this is both increased contrast and reduced transparency. So now the menu bar is back. And I'm a little surprised. I'm not sure what the actual default is because I've been running the betas, but you know, it probably makes sense to ship with the reduced transparency on, so people get more of a classic look. And it took me about a week, 10 days before I was ready to turn that transparency off. And you can also see in this window here, the increased contrast is quite a bit more. It's actually extra strong in case you need something like that. Okay, so the next one, there's a close-up of that window in the system settings. So you notice up here, these guys are both on. And when you turn on increased contrast, it will automatically turn on reduced transparency. And these are the two you're probably going to want to play with to decide which look you like the best. So this is reduced transparency, because you see the menu bar, without increased contrast. And to me, this would be a normal default and so this is something you might want to take a look at when the time comes. And let's see, on this one here, this is a close-up basically of the same window. I'm not sure, maybe it helps to have the close-up, maybe not. And then, okay, so this is pretty much the same one we've seen again. Okay, and this is where the reduced motion was. If this is something, I turn it off on the phones. I just have a visual problem myself with things like intentional camera movement, which is deliberately blurry photos. They kind of make me queasy. So I tend to turn off reduced motion, but I haven't felt really a need for it in Tahoe. But again, just search on motion. I found it much easier. System settings has changed so many times. And if you used to follow any kind of a tree structure to find stuff, it takes a long time. So believe me, I used to be in there a lot over the years. I did tech support for 30 years, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that. But anyway, another thing that's really cool is there is a flag that you can, when you set color tags on folders, they will turn that color. And I think it's folder based on tags. So this makes it really cool if you want to customize your icons. So okay, now we go over to the icons, and this is the default light look. And I use contacts as our, this is going to be our demo over here of the application. And so that is the basic default light version. And then this is the default dark version, which you have the option to run on auto, which means the icons will change when you switch from light to dark mode at sunset. Or you can run the dark icons all the time, which a lot of people liked in the betas. So you can decide for yourself what you like better. Now we're about a third of the way there. So this is the clear light. Now this is okay. This is the one. This is important actually to mention because this is the one that Apple was pushing, and they're the clear icons. You can tell by my desktop, I'm not running them. I'm running the traditional icons. I do not like the clear appearance. It doesn't do a thing for me. Some people really like it in their phones. So from here on, I'm going to show you some of the more artsy things. So that's clear light. This is clear dark. Oh, excuse me, that's defaults dark. Oh, I know why. I wanted to compare these two. Okay, defaults dark. And now we switch over to the tints. That is the blue tint. And you can, oh, that's the dark of the blue tint. The tint, by the way, doesn't do much of anything for me either. And is just sort of a fun example. It's sort of the Hunt for Red October look. You know, you can do everything in red if that, you know, is interesting. And if, you know, if you're on in the middle of the night, it might be something you want to try using. So that's the red dark. And then just for the heck of it, I did a purple to show what you could do. But so the takeaway here is that liquid glass may look a little daunting when you first see it, as it certainly did for me. But you can control a lot. You know, I would say the number one thing I would say is turn on reduced transparency, and a lot of the clear stuff will go away and it'll look much more like what you're used to looking at. And maybe after a week or 10 days, you want to start experimenting a little bit with it. But, you know, there are almost endless possibilities of what you could do with icons and things. And then the increased contrast has been around for a while. And then reduced motion actually has been there, I think, in the last two OSs. So, like I concluded here, liquid glass is a big jump. And it's taken me about a month or so to get used to it. So I would say give yourself some time when you upgrade. The other thing we were talking about earlier was this idea that Apple's recommending on your first install of these new operating systems, if you can plug your item in, be it a phone, an iPad, or a laptop, leave it plugged in for an hour or two because, or maybe less, as Kevin was saying, because there are various processes that need to continue to happen after your install. Apple's been doing this for a while, but it's a little bit more so in the new OSs. Otherwise, your device may run a little warmer than usual, a little slower than usual, and use a little bit more a battery if it's a battery device. You know, but you can avoid all of that by just leaving it plugged in for a while. So it's kind of a lot. Any questions?
Yeah, how can I get a copy of this advice panel here?
Aha. This one here, Tommy?
Yeah.
Well, it's in the chat.
Chris will set it up as a text file and put it into the TMUG talk.
Yeah, I can
Right,
do
Chris?
that. Sure.
Sounds good.
Called show notes.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. And you know, I won't send my slides because they're just sort of arbitrary on my part. You know, it wasn't that there's a quiz or I wanted to anybody to remember anything more than there are multiple variations of things. And so hopefully, I'm not sure what Apple's actually providing in the release material, but as the time comes, we can certainly talk about it on TMUG or Talk or wherever you all want to as questions come up. And I'm sure those of us that are running it, Roger and Kevin and I and others will be able to help. If there are no other questions, I will stop sharing.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Chris.
Hope that
Now we're
wasn't
gonna
too
turn to-
complicated.
Now we're going to turn to Roger. He's got his icon up, but I'm sure that he's really behind the scene. He's there and ready to go with his how to download maps onto your iPhone for offline use. And Roger, unmute and take it away. Roger, you're still muted.
I couldn't see my Zoom dashboard there when I was in Keynote, so we'll try this again.
Yeah, they all say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay, so how to download maps by yours truly. So in Apple Maps, you need to have iOS 17 or later to do this. And of course, you need to have access to Wi-Fi or cellular. So you can't get to where you're going and decide to download the maps. You need to do that before you leave. So why would you want to do that? Well, if you're in an area that has little or no cell coverage, even in a big city, the skyscrapers can block the GPS signal, so you may not be able to use your maps there. And of course, when you're in a foreign country, you'll save some money on data charges if you have offline maps. So to download offline maps on your iPhone, you go to the Maps app, you search for a location, and then you tap the place in your search results that you want to download, and then you tap More. So then you tap Download Map, and then you can use the handles to adjust the area of the map. And then you touch on Download. And you also want to turn on automatic updates so that keeps the maps current. So now I'm going to switch screens here and share my iPhone. Okay, so here's my iPhone. And I'm going to go to Maps. And I'm going to search for a map. Let's say we want to go to Mount Lemmon. There we go. There's Mount Lemmon. So then I just will click here on the map. And then down here you see the More right here. Click on More. You go to Download the Map. And then you see you have these handles here on the corners and in the middle. So you can make the map more to just the area you're interested in, something like that. And then you would click Download here at the bottom right-hand corner. And that takes a little while. So there it goes. So you can see here it's downloading, but we're not going to wait for it. So we're going to close out of here and close out of here. So now to retrieve that map, you go to either your picture or your initials here next to Search Maps. And then you go to Offline Maps. the second selection here. And then you would select the map. I've downloaded this several times, so I have several instances of it. And there you have the map. And there it is. So you can resize it. You can zoom in and zoom out and do whatever you want to do. So that is with Apple Maps. So we're going to back out of here and get set up for Google Maps. So we're going to stop the screen sharing and share our keynote again. Okay. So as I noted there, to recall the downloaded map, you touch the profile initials next to search maps, you touch offline maps, and you select your map. So in Google Maps, it's a little different. You touch your profile picture, your initials or your picture next to search. You touch offline maps, and then you select your own map. And then you download. Now with Google, you have to rename the map. It won't carry the name over like Apple Maps does. And to recall the map, you touch your profile picture or initials again, you touch offline maps, and you touch the desired map. So we're going to switch back to our iPhone. So we're clicking on the Google Maps. So we click on our picture right here next to search. And we click on offline maps. Kind of small, but it's down here. And then we would select a map down here in this green bar. So then I would search for a map, or I can even just move it around here. So there's Mount Kimball, and there's Marshall Gulch, and there's Mount Lemmon. So then I would click on download, and then click here. Okay, so it is downloading. It takes a little while to download, so I'm going to skip. Oh, here we go. And so you can see here, it called it map number 5. So I have to go over here to the 3 little dots and rename it. So we're going to call this Mount Lemmon. We'll call it 5 so you can see that one because we have some other ones. So here's Mount Lemmon 5. So to recall it, you just click on it. You click here on the map, and there you are. Without any cell coverage, you have a map. So that's the way it works with Google Maps. So, any questions?
Well, as I started to say in the Ask Me Anything section, I did this when I went to Chiricahua National Monument, and I was using Apple Maps and CarPlay, and their website said, oh, if when you get to this intersection of this highway and that highway, you'll have cell coverage. But once you get into the park, you won't, because it is a canyon. And it worked beautifully. I had downloaded it before, And as soon as I lost cell service, bing, it was there and it was ready for me and guided me through the park, up the scenic drive and then back down again. And then when I left the park, as soon as I got back to that highway intersection again and had good 5G coverage, it went away. So it worked beautifully. And a few days later, it said, "Oh, do you want to update this? There's an update to it." And I said, "Well, yeah." And it did. So I think it is a terrific, terrific thing. So, are there any questions for Roger on this downloading of maps? And Melissa has her hand up.
Yes. Two questions. One is about comparing the expiration dates, and the other one is about sharing downloaded maps. Can you compare, Roger, for us, the expiration time? Because I noticed that on the Google Maps, when you downloaded it, said that it would expire unless you updated it. And I wondered how that compares to the Apple Maps. And then the second one is, can you share a downloaded map? Like, say, my dad doesn't know how to do it and I want to just send it to him. Could I just share a downloaded map and it would end up in his Maps
Yeah.
app?
Okay, I don't remember seeing anything about, well, there is a share sheet in there on Apple Maps. So I think you probably could share the Apple map. I don't
Because
think
you can share
there's,
guides.
yeah, there's guides. But as far as the expiration, I don't think the Apple Maps expire.
I
And
didn't see one, but I did for Google, so I wondered why
yeah,
that is.
so the Google Maps do expire, so you have to, you know, check in on them every once in a while and update them.
Is there an update option in Apple Maps?
I don't think they expire.
Maybe
think-
Apple's just smarter and it just updates it automatically when there's a
Yeah,
change.
it does up.
The-
I mean, as Bob mentioned, it does update it automatically.
Yeah, so why would you need to manually update it, I wonder? For Google.
Because the update doesn't always work. I've been using offline maps for months now. And if you go into there, it'll tell you that updates are available. They don't, even though I have automatic updates turned on, they don't seem to always automatically update.
My experience as well. Lots of times I have to approve the update.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably to prevent people from going over their data plans, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I also have the whole state of Arizona put in mine, and it's a 2.5 gigabyte file. So
That was my next question. How large do they get? And so you can download entire states.
yeah, you can download entire states. And one of the things is if you don't use a map in 30 days is an option under offline maps to optimize storage, which means that if a map isn't used for 30 days, it'll take it off of your iPhone.
Titty.
That's a setting I would want to turn off, though.
Yeah, because I
Because-
wouldn't want to re-download the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, when you update it, you basically do re-download the whole thing.
Oh, really? It doesn't just update the parts
No.
that changed? Oh,
No,
the
but-
future is not here yet, darn it.
I mean, you're trying like I just did my 2.5 gigabyte, or it says 2.46, and it takes like 30 seconds to download. So
In your house.
yeah, well, that's true.
So
I
the
am
moral of the story
slightly,
is-
I'm slightly spoiled. You've seen my place, so
I know. So the moral of the story is go to Kevin's house to download your maps. Hey, Kevin, can I come over and download Pennsylvania over some coffee?
you can come over anytime you want.
Thanks,
Tommy,
Kevin.
you have a question?
I do. I have an old app that's called Maps.me. I think does the same thing. Is this I've never used it, and I wonder if what it does and if this is the same thing. Maps.me. It's an app.
Reminds me of Mobile Me.
Mind you, what?
Reminds me of Mobile Me. Do you remember Mobile Me?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's an app that you could download in the App Store, and you could pay for it. That's like it's an offline GPS map. Recently
Kinda like-
updated.
Like Garmin?
Yeah.
I wonder what makes it worth paying for, I wonder.
Well, prior to iOS 17 or 18, you didn't have offline maps.
Hmm.
So
So will they be they're Sherlocked now?
yeah. And let me see. It, yeah, if you did wow, it's expensive. For the pro version is $47 a month
Oh my,
or $55.
it
I'm
better
sorry,
come with Morgan
55
Freeman for the voice.
$55 a year. I'm sorry. But yeah,
In the chat, Natalie asked, are topographical maps or topographical views available?
That's a great
And in
question.
my experience, the answer is no, satellite views, but that's not really topographical.
the National
Maybe-
Park Service has some topo maps that you could download in an app. But yeah, the Apple Maps doesn't do that.
Okay.
That's surprising because they support bicyclists. I would think a bicycle rider and a hiker would want those.
Well, the way I look at it, Melissa, is 90% of the people out there don't know how to read a topo map.
It's true.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, I know a good friend of mine showed me how to read them, and I still am not good at it. And if you do geocaching, they're great, but
Mhm.
I think
Okay,
USGS used to have them available. I know the paper copies they did for sure, but I think I
yeah.
saw a while ago now. I don't know if that's still happening. I haven't checked in about 5+ years, but they had topos for people who want them. It's kind of crazy getting it on something like an iPhone because of the area. I mean, these maps are usually, you know, so putting that
Well,
onto an iPhone could be interesting.
okay, let's move forward with the iPhone event recap with Tony. Whenever you're ready, Tony.
Okay. Can people see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And you.
We can see you too. That's really cool.
Looks good.
So that is a little app called Face Screen that allows you to put a screen, an image of yourself onto your screen. Okay, so this was the Apple event called Awe Dropping. The overall time was, I think, an hour and 10, 11
Oh.
minutes. And so here's kind of what they introduced. So just a few minutes on an intro, AirPods Pro, a new Apple Watch family, which by family I mean a family of watches, not something for family use. iPhone Air, which is the really new device, and a new iPhone Pro. Um, and I thought this was interesting. This was a quote they had up at the beginning from Steve Jobs. Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. And so I think that's the Apple philosophy overall. So here's a quick preview of all the stuff so you can see all the pictures. So that's the AirPods Pro, two different. So there's an Apple Watch SE and an Apple Watch Series 11, the new iPhone 17 in the upper right. Let me see if I can. Then the Apple Watch Ultra 3. This is the iPhone Air with a new carry case. And then these are the iPhone Pros. That was just the preview of everything, so you'll know what's coming. So the new AirPods Pro 3, they have improved the audio quality. They have an extra, it says twice as good as previous, so another 3 dB of active noise cancellation over the AirPods Pro 2. And they said it's 4 times the noise cancellation as the original AirPods Pro. They've now added foam infused ear tips, and instead of 3 sizes, they now come in 5 sizes. They've also reshaped them. They showed a picture of looking at 100,000 ears and taking a lot of user data and user studies with the existing devices, and they came up with these a little bit new shape for the ear canal, and then 5 sizes of tips. So it's a better fit for each person. And in those tips, when they say foam infused, the outside is silicone, and then inside them there's foam, and that helps with the sound reduction piece of the AirPod. They have live translation powered by Apple Intelligence, so it's really powered by the iPhone. I believe this is coming to the AirPods 4 as well. I didn't see if it was coming to other devices. They said it's starting off with English, French, German, Portuguese, and Spanish, and they were going to add another 6 to 8 languages by the end of the year.
Tony, it comes to it's the AirPod Pro 2
Okay.
and the AirPod Pro 3 only.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it's the AirPod 4 with active noise cancellation.
Okay. So the AirPods 4 get the active noise cancellation, and only the AirPods Pro get the live translation.
Right.
They showed 2 demos that I thought were interesting. The first one was a person with the AirPods Pro talking with a vendor, a street vendor, and using their iPhone. So it translated the words that the person was speaking to the vendor into their language and put them on the iPhone. It also said that your iPhone will speak those words in their language if you need that. If they can't read or if they're having trouble seeing, they don't have their glasses, it will speak the words for you from your iPhone. They also showed 2 people both wearing AirPods Pro 3 and getting a translation in both directions. So one person speaking in English and another person speaking in Italian, and it just translated for both people, put it in their preferred language into their ears. I think that's going to be really interesting. We'll see if it works with 3 languages at a time or if it only works with 2. The other thing they have added is heart rate sensing. So inside this little device, there's now a heart rate sensor. Similar to what you have in the watch. So if you don't have a watch, you can now use the AirPods Pro as a heart sensor. And they kept the price. It's still $249. Okay. After that, they switched to the Apple Watch. They showed the Series 11 first. So they've updated both. So it's the aluminum ones are 100% recycled aluminum, and the titanium cases are 100% recycled titanium. So they're, machining it out, taking the titanium shavings or aluminum shavings, reforming it into a block, and then machining it out. So, and I'm guessing any of the Mac cases that are titanium or aluminum, they're using the shavings from those. So they're collecting all the shavings, reforming them into blocks, then using them for smaller devices. I think that's a really good thing that they're doing. So they've now improved the scratch resistance with a new Ceramic Shield 2. They have 5G cellular. They added a couple health features. The first one for the heart is detection of hypertension or high blood pressure. So now it will give you a warning if you have high blood pressure. And they're also now doing sleep score. So using some of the studies that you'll be able to see what your sleep score is. And they said for any data that you have already collected on the watch, you can go back in time and review your sleep score if you have the sleep data recorded with your watch. So you'll be able to see what your trends are. It also has the details of how it's calculated and shows you what's reducing your sleep score and what's increasing your sleep score so that you can make improvements in that. It now has 24-hour battery life, and the aluminum version starts at $399. So the Apple Watch SE, 2 colors. That's the Starlight, and I think they called it Space Black again. It may have been a different name. But they have updated the Apple Watch SE3 to the S10 processor, which is the same processor that is in the other 2 Apple Watches. They now have, I put little stars after these things. The stars are all of the features that were in the regular Apple Watch series that the Apple Watch SE3 now has. So it now has the always-on display. It handles gestures, the full gesture set. It does wrist temperature calculation. It does your sleep apnea and sleep score. It has 5G. They call this all day battery life, which is the 18-hour battery life. And it now also has fast charging. So to me, what they've done here is they've put this watch, it's a little bit smaller screen, a little bit small, little bit less battery life, but it has almost all the features that the regular Apple Watch series did a year ago. And that starts at $249. Okay, then they introduced the Apple Watch Ultra 3. So last year when they introduced the Apple Watch Series 10, they said it's the largest display that we've ever had in an Apple Watch. And people said, bigger than the Ultra 2? And the answer was yes, bigger than the Ultra 2 by just a little bit. So the Apple Watch Ultra 3, they did the same thing. They increased the area just a little bit. It's now the largest display on an Apple Watch, and they increased the brightness. So the display area is just slight. They essentially reduced the bezel size for the display. And so the whole watch is the exact same size. It's just the pixel area of the glass is a little bit bigger than it was before. There's a 1 second update mode. So the always on update will show seconds going by. So you can leave it at 1 second update if you have a second hand on your watch, but that's in the always on mode, the low power mode. Has 5G cellular, and new to the Apple Watch 3, full satellite connectivity. So you can send text messages through satellite if you have a plan. And you have the same satellite for the SOS mode. They've updated the battery life now to 42 hours. I think it was around 30-ish before, 36, I think they said. So it's a little bit better battery life. And it starts at $799. It comes in the same two colors as the Ultra 2. They of course have new color bands and some other bands that come as well. So that's the Apple Watch family. The next thing they introduced is the iPhone 17. So they've, as expected, they have updated this to the new A19 processor. The iPhone 16 had the A18 processor, so now they have the A19. This has a upgraded 5-core graphics unit. It has a 6-core central processing unit, but that's pretty similar to what they've had before. The graphics is about 20% faster than the previous model that was on the A18. And the bigger thing here is it now has the ProMotion display. So the display on the iPhone 17 and the display on the iPhone 17 Pro look like they're identical displays. The 3000 nit outdoor brightness, same pixel size, the 6.3 inches. It has the improved ceramic shield. And then they said this year with the new processor, it has more efficiency, and it added an extra 8 hours of video playback over the iPhone 16 models. Okay, they talked for quite a while about the new camera. So the new features, they talked a little bit about the 48 megapixel Fusion camera and 48 megapixel ultra wide, Fusion ultra wide. Those are pretty similar to the cameras from last year that were on the Pro models. So they have a mode where they have a 12 megapixel 2x telephoto, and they have the macro photography also. So there's kind of 3 modes for the back camera, even though there's really 2 displays plus the macro. So the big new thing is the center stage front camera. And so the center stage camera is now 18 megapixels. It's a square camera, a square array. And so all 4 of those pictures these 4 pictures were all taken with the phone in vertical mode. So you can get these framing choices of you can get a vertical framing or a horizontal framing, and you can be zoomed out a little bit, zoomed out a little bit. It does auto face detection. If someone comes up next to you, it tries to fit both faces in the frame. And they have added action mode to the front camera, so it does the image stabilization in the front camera as well as the rear cameras. And so this is I would say this is probably one of the biggest improvements is this center stage front camera. And I'd love to see them update a Apple display to have this front camera instead of the one that they have in there right now. Okay. So that was the iPhone 17 line with the new camera. Now the iPhone Air. This is now using the A19 Pro processor with a 5-core GPU. And in the Pro processor, they actually have a neural accelerator. It says it has 3 times the performance of the A18 Pro graphics units for neural acceleration. Apple Silicon coming to the forefront. So they now have the N1 processor. N is probably stands for network. And that does Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Thread or Matter for home use. For the Internet of Things connections to home devices. They also now have, they had the C1 modem before. They now have the C1X modem, which is the cellular modem. People have been saying they're seeing really good performance from this in testing. I haven't heard final information. It does not yet support the 5G ultra wideband. So this cellular modem is specific to the iPhone Air, and you can see how thin the iPhone Air is. They used a lot of the space. The space is for battery. It has a titanium frame. It's 80% recycled titanium. The display is a 6.5 inch, so a little bit bigger than the iPhone 17 or the iPhone 17 Pro. And it has a single 48 megapixel Fusion main camera system. It looked like that was pretty close to the main camera that's on the iPhone 17. With the Pro, it has a few extra features in terms of being able to simulate 28 and 35 millimeter lenses in addition to having the 1x and 2x. It does have the same center stage front camera, and that enabled by the A19 Pro processor is dual capture for front and rear video. So you can do simultaneous capture of the front and rear video, and they're showing us here capturing their reaction in a selfie video while they're watching and capturing the video of the basketball game. Because this is so thin, there is no space inside for the eSIM, so it's eSIM only worldwide. I've heard a few articles and I haven't caught up on them because I was teaching a class today. It looks like the eSIM only worldwide may take a few months to be available in China. It says it's approved by China, but it may take a little while. So if you hear about the eSIM or the iPhone Air not being available in China, it's because it's eSIM only. They used a new term. They use this again, all-day battery life, and it says 40 hours of video playback. And I showed earlier that crossbody strap. So connecting to 2 different cases that they have, those crossbody strap points, I think that's a really good thing. There's a lot of people who have been having issues with the iPhones getting stolen, so that crossbody strap is a way to keep it close to you and connected to you. Okay, so that is the brand new iPhone Air. You can see here at the top, there is definitely space. They essentially have space up here to put all the camera equipment in, and that goes all the way across the back of the device. Okay, iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. So the iPhone 17 Pro is the 6.3 inch display, and the Pro Max is the 6.9 inch display. They have switched back to an aluminum frame. It is now an aluminum unibody frame, so it's machined out of a single block of aluminum, and then they're recycling that aluminum for the other devices. They talk specifically about this being an Apple designed alloy um, that allows for better heat transfer. So they now have the 19 Pro in here. It has a 6-core graphics unit. The previous Air had a 5-core graphics unit, and it has 4 times the performance of the A18 Pro. Your phone, if you get a 17 Pro, now has a liquid/vapor cooling system. So inside the device, they're down here it's showing and the heat transfer. This is a sealed aluminum chamber that has ionized water in it. It takes heat from the processor, turns into vapor, transfers the heat to the aluminum, the whole body, and as it cools down, it'll change back into a little bit of liquid. So this is a vapor chamber, so it's actually a thermal liquid transfer chamber for heat. So you now have phones with liquid cooling. And they said this is to better distribute the heat over the whole device instead of have it concentrating on the case. Aluminum is better at transferring heat than titanium, and I think that's one of the reasons they switched back to aluminum. The new 17 Pro has the center stage front camera. It has 39 hours of video playback on the 17 Pro. It has what they called the Pro camera system. It adds a Fusion telephoto, which simulates 100mm and 200mm lenses, or 4x and 8x. They added a couple professional video items, so you can actually do a full raw capture of the video. You could do raw capture before of a standalone image, but now you can do a full capture of all the video, all the sensor data, so you can post-process it however you would like. The other thing they added is really for professional photography. It's called Genlock. This is the same thing that was used, I don't know, 20 years ago to do the bullet time effect that was done in the Matrix, but you can now do that bullet time effect with an iPhone 17 Pros connected together with this Genlock system. So you can sync all of the video for multiple cameras. So at the bottom here, this is showing they have macro, and then all of these different lenses are simulated 13, 24, 28, 35, 48, 100, and 200mm lenses. You'll notice that on the back, the camera area is across the full width of the device again. Okay, so these are then some additional pictures just to show you the three. Here's the 17 Pro on the left. Here's the iPhone Air. They're probably always going to try to show this in this side profile view, and then the iPhone 17. There's a new case called the TechWoven case. We'll see if that does better than the previous case that they tried, or lasts better. And then they have this strap, which supports both the iPhone 17 Pro and the 17 Air. I did not see if any iPhone 17 cases supported the tech strap, but it has magnetic attachments to allow you to adjust the length easily, and then these are physically into the case. Those are attachment points. Okay, in terms of pricing, this was a little bit of a surprise. They eliminated 128 gigabyte models. So everything now starts at 256. And the other thing they added is there's actually a 2 terabyte model now for the 17 Pro Max. The iPhone 17 is actually a little bit cheaper because the 256 gig model is the same price that the 128 gig model was last year. And the Air, and they didn't call it a 17 Air, they just called it an Air, but that's the same price that the 16 Plus was for a 128 gig model. So those are effectively the same starting price, but they upped the memory to 256 gig. The 17 Pro and the 17 Pro Max, those are the same price they were last year, but they dropped the 128 gig model, so it effectively raised the price by $100 for entry level. So the 17 Pro starts at $1099 and 17 Pro Max $1199. And if you really want to spend $2,000 to get 2 terabytes of video, I hope you're using that for professional video capture of some reason that you need to have 2 terabytes on your device. Okay, I have links to more information here at the end. If you go to that first link, which is the Apple events one, it shows all of these items right now for more information, but I put all the links in here. I will upload this later to the TMUG talk. Are there any questions that people would like me to go back to something, or questions about this?
Very thorough. Thanks, Tony.
I have a snarky comment about the camera plateau. To me, that's really making lemonade when they give you lemons instead of the camera bump.
Yeah. Well, it's clear on, this iPhone Air, if you didn't have that bump, there's no way they would have been able to make this device.
Agreed. I'm sure that everybody else will be coming out with crossbody straps on Amazon like real soon now.
Of course.
Well, the stem of the Pros is all battery. So in other words, the bump is where everything is, basically. They've miniaturized the phone guts, and it all fits into the bump, the plateau.
Yeah.
If you look at the video, you can tell they show it's all battery in the bottom, which is amazing.
This is all battery, and then the thermal chamber is directly under the case.
Which one are you getting, Tony?
Likely this dark blue one over here.
Nice.
I'm upgrading my iPhone 13 Pro.
There you go. Nice.
And can I borrow your credit card, Tony?
Are you getting the crossbody?
I don't think that'll be approved. I don't know if I'm getting the crossbody or not.
Has anybody placed an order already?
Yes, I placed the order for a 19 Pro,
Which color?
replacing a 13 Pro Max.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hopefully you'll get that on the 19th is when the pre-orders are arriving.
We'll see.
I'm
Tony,
still on the
did you
fence.
notice? Go ahead, Melissa.
I was gonna say I'm still on the fence. I'm probably gonna order around my birthday.
That's a nice birthday present.
I'm going to be waiting until after the convention that I run and contacting my wife's cousin who works at Apple.
Oh,
Mm. There you go.
25% discount is nice.
nice.
So the 17 Max is gone.
No, there's still a 17 Max, Pro Max.
No, Pro Max, but not non-Pro Max.
No, the non-Pro is the
iPad Air.
the iPhone Air.
Yeah.
And it actually does it has, let me see if I can go to the right. So it's hard to see on here. It is a slightly larger, it's actually in between the Pro and the Pro Max. The iPhone Pro 17 Pro is a 6.3-inch screen. The iPhone Air is a 6.5-inch screen.
Oh.
So it is a little bit bigger screen than what the 17 base Pro is, but it's smaller than the Pro Max.
Well, as long as you like the regular 17 size, several of the pundits have pointed out that the headliner, the really big deal this year is the 17 non-Pro. because you get everything but the telephoto lens, and it's almost identical with features, right, to the Pro. So if someone doesn't need that telephoto lens, you could save some money and just get the regular 17, and you got much more interesting colors too.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the colors kind of were not awfully appealing, so I went for silver.
Always a safe choice, Jerry. My 15 is silver as well, or raw titanium, or whatever the heck they called it.
Well, does anyone really use a phone without putting it in a case anyway?
Some
Right.
people do.
Yeah.
I don't.
Some people do, and they say they drop them and they crack their screens and they get them replaced. And then some never drop them, apparently.
I've had really good luck with the spec cases. For some reason, the raised ridge for whatever it helps protect it. I tried OtterBox and wasn't happy with the sensitivity of the touch screen. So spec seems to be the way that I've been happy to go. By the way, on that Air, I believe that is the only one of the group that they have an add-on battery that you can put on the back to augment the battery life. That add-on battery capability is not available on any of the other phones in the lineup.
Yeah, not yet. Not
Third
for
parties. Yeah. But
Who's
I'm real
that for?
familiar with the whole thermal thing because I run the 16 Pro Max and I use it for photography a lot. And I have the thick OtterBox case, which I'm currently replacing with something thinner. ChatGPT helped me out on that. And a big ring on the back that I use for a stand. And the phone will get so hot that the display dims, which really sucks when you're outside trying to do photography.
right.
You know, it pretty much shuts you down. So I
Well,
understand the vapor barrier thing really works. The Samsung Galaxy 25 has it. And a friend of mine said, yeah, it's noticeably cooler than his 24.
Hmm.
But the switch back to aluminum is easier to manufacture too. That's what I heard, Tony. So in other countries like India, it'll be easier to manufacture it than the titanium. And it really is a lot better at heat transfer.
It's
Because
cheaper
the
too.
16 Pro Maxes are really hot. Yep.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the unibody, that means that Apple probably had them get specific devices, um, specific machining tools to support the full unibody.
yeah.
It's a double-sided. It actually machines from both sides.
Yeah, also another thing that you didn't mention, Tony, with the Apple Watch Ultra 3, he mentioned that it comes with 2 years of satellite service for text messaging, Find My, and emergency services. And after the 2 years, I guess you have to pay for it.
Well, I think my understanding was it comes with the 2 years of SOS. You still have to have cell service for the satellite. And they said they extended the Ultra 2, the previous devices that have satellite, they extended it for
Yeah.
another year.
Yeah. I haven't had to use it yet on mine. So
There was a question. Oh, all day. Yeah, so the watches do charge faster.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be getting a new watch because my Series 4 finally bit it. I broke the glass and the battery is not happy. Um, so even with a Series 4, I was able to, after I woke up, getting ready in the morning, I would put my watch on the charger after I woke up. And then when I was ready to leave for work after eating breakfast and taking a shower and everything, it was pretty much fully charged. And that was way back long, long ago before they had fast charging.
Okay, so we have a few minutes of time, and I want to take a moment to do a commercial for the Scott Kelby Worldwide Photo Walk that comes up first Saturday of October. And I happen to be leading a walk here in the Tucson area. We're going to start in the Barrio Viejo area, walk around there for a while, and then we're going to go in the afternoon and then go down to Mission San Javier and take some pictures there and wait for the sun to go down behind the mission. And I have personally ordered a strategically wonderful sunset.
How about the door prize drawing?
Yeah, we're going to do the drawing. We're going to do the drawing. In fact, Ridge, why don't you who wants to do the drawing? Who wants to do the pick a number between 1 and 28?
Anybody. Bridge, do it.
How about you,
15.
Kurt?
15.
16?
1-5.
1-5. And that's Jerry. Does Jerry qualify? Jerry got it in February. I think we need to try another one.
22. 22.
22. No, that doesn't count either. That's Roger's note taker.
Think low. Single digit, Ridge.
How about 13?
13. 13 is Susan Clement, and we can do that. Susan, congratulations. We'll be sending you a Apple gift card, and I'm also going to remember to save the chat now. Save chat. Okay. Show in Finder. And I'll send that off to you in a little bit. Roger, do we have a survey for tonight's meeting?
No, we don't.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll worry about it next month.
Everybody gets 5s.
So if there's nothing else, boys and girls, I think we'll call it an evening.
Hey, Bob, what's the date on that photo shoot?
The photo walk?
Yes.
The photo walk is, I'm going to put the link into the chat. It's just worldwidephotowalk.com, and it happens first Saturday of October, and that'll be the 4th of October. And if you're interested in photography, please come along. There's no charge to be a photo walker, and you might even win something. Although I must say I've never seen Scott Kelby give away any decent prizes to somebody in the United States. Usually it's, oh, here's one from Venice and here's one from Paris or something like that. But it's a good time. You don't need big fancy equipment like Kevin showed us earlier this evening. Just come, bring your phone, bring whatever camera you want, and we will walk around and have a good time.
We're going to make a shared photo album for us to share pictures.
I think that has always
That's
been
fun.
something as part of the photo walk, but as yet I have not been told, go here and key this in and you'll get your album. If that doesn't happen, I will certainly make one either in probably in
Photos.
Apple Photos.
It's the easiest. And then we can leave comments. You can make it a public website for everybody to see in the next meeting.
Love that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Okay, where do I leave?
Night.
There goes.